For them, they suggest that if indeed authorities wanted to show leniency to the killer, they could have reduced her sentence from death to life in prison other than setting her free while they continue mourning the loss of their breadwinner at the time.
PHIRI sister, elder sister, immediate elder sister to Monica Chabwera PHIRI. It's from social media we heard of the release of BEATRICE HANGWENDA. And through social media, all the media, we are appealing to the necessary authorities, the prisons board, on how they arrived to discharge BEATRICE of 2 accounts. 1 account for murder for Monica Chabwera PHIRI, and the second account on attempted murder of Benny Banda. In 2013, it was all public. Everybody knew what had happened to BEATRICE HANGWENDA after the judicial system charged her for the 2 accounts. And we also heard about her appeal to Supreme Court to say the judgment was too harsh, but the Supreme Court upheld the sentence. We've only heard on the 5th of September to say she was released of these 2 accounts.
Videos that have been posted of where she was being interviewed by some lady from ZNBC, where she says that she was not the one who killed Monica. If anything, she was the one who gave her poison. She was the mastermind. She had planned it for months. It was not like it just happened. Monica was just shot at there and then. No, it was something that was planned. And for her to say she did not partake in the murder, I don't think she's sincere to say that she's sorry for what she did. We need to see justice in this nation, because now the pains have now opened up. We are now feeling the pain like it was many years ago. 13 years ago, we're still feeling the pain. And there she is out in the streets. We don't know whether our lives, whether we're going to be, whether we should come for us as well. We don't know, because this person is not supposed to be out there. She may just try and kill someone else.
My question is to everyone who has a mother, or who has a sister, or who has an auntie, or who has a grandmother. Ask yourselves that same question. How would you feel in that event? I'm not special from anyone. I'm the same as anyone with an auntie or a mother or an uncle, or sorry, an auntie. For me, it's pain. For my siblings, it's pain. For my children, it's pain. To have to relive the whole case, everything that happened, over again. It's very painful. And not that we don't believe in forgiveness. Unfortunately, the family, the aggrieved family, has not been involved in anything.
Ruling Patriotic Front PF Deputy Secretary General MUMBI PHIRI has directed police officers to arrest any party cadres in the habit of harassing media practitioners and institutions. Ms. PHIRI states that the media plays a critical role in the governance of the country, hence the need to allow them to operate freely without any intimidation from any sort. And Media Institute of Southern Africa, MISA, Zambia National Director Austin Kayanda is disappointed that cadres have taken it upon themselves to infringe on media freedoms by disrupting programs. The duo was speaking during the political parties, police and media seminar organized by MISA, Zambia and the Friedrich Ebert Stiftung. Mr. Kopsika says democracy must always resolve challenges amicably. More in this report.
The political parties, police and media seminar held in Lusaka today, spearheaded by MISA Zambia and the Friedrich Ebert Stiftung, brought out a number of issues in view of creating a favorable political environment for the media in the country ahead of next year's elections. At the same event, the Friedrich Ebert Stiftung Zambia resident representative observed that Zambia, like many other countries across the globe, is witnessing political polarization where there is little or no tolerance to divergent views.
We have an election coming here in Zambia next year. Many other countries have similar situations, but for example also in my own country, in Germany, even without an election coming, the society seems to be more and more polarized. People have lost a culture and the spirit to engage constructively with one another.
Mr. Zambia National Director Austin Kayanda notes the need for the Zambia police to protect journalists.
Every attack on the media distorts the reality by creating a climate of fear and self-censorship. We have seen the rise of fake news of late, and we are blaming the media. But if the media cannot go to FDD, cannot go to NDC to go and get the other side of the story, definitely the story will be biased. You know, us as journalists, we have ethics. We need to report ethically, balance the story, and so forth.
United Party for National Development, UPND Media Director Ruth Dante noted that the environment in which journalists are operating is not conducive and that sometimes compromises their professionalism.
Government should allow journalists to operate freely. I'm surprised that I'm getting, I know everyone has got the right to your opinion, but I don't think it is fair to ask journalists to say you should be strong, you should make sure. It is practically impossible. We are aware that certain journalists have lost their jobs because of wanting to stick to their principles.
And PF Deputy Secretary General MUMBI PHIRI implored the police to act against cadres perpetuating violence regardless of their political affiliation.
Let us be truthful. As for my party, we mean what we say. Those who go, you start harassing, hey, your job is going to finish. Who are you? Did they employ you? No. You start acting and maybe refer, because I'm in this meeting, you should say MUMBI PHIRI said this. And we mean it. Help us arrest the thugs so that our country can go back to normal.
Zambia Police Assistant Public Relations Officer Geoffrey Chilabi provided a message of hope to ensure media safety.
In those trainings that are going on, we have a component. In an event that there is a Russia situation, how can police officers, the commander on duty, coordinate or cooperate with the journalists on the ground? So we have...
The elections ahead are anticipated to be tense for media practitioners who are tasked with the responsibility of informing the nation. But with continuous engagements like this, it is possible to create a favorable political atmosphere. Patrick Soko, Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
The Lusaka Principal Resident Magistrate David Simusamba has thrown out National Democratic Congress NDC President Chishiba KAMBWILI'S bail application. Magistrate Simusamba is making this decision, say the bail was wrongly before him, adding that it does not comply with the law. Making a ruling on Mr. KAMBWILI'S bail application Thursday morning, Magistrate Simusamba ruled that the notice of appeal lodged by the convict was irregular, hence he could not entertain such an application. The court found that Mr. KAMBWILI filed the notice of appeal way before he could even finish sentencing him, a move he said was irregular. He says this was against the Criminal Procedure Court. KAMBWILI was last Wednesday slapped with a one-year jail sentence in an offense of forgery and uttering false documents.
It looks like incarcerated National Democratic Congress leader Dr. Chimba KAMBWILI will have to spend more days in prison after the court this morning denied his bail application. This is in a case in which the NDC leader was convicted last week with a one-year jail sentence after the court found him guilty of the offense of forgery and uttering false document. Lusaka Principal Magistrate David Simusamba this morning refused to entertain KAMBWILI'S bail application on ground that it does not comply with the law. The magistrate in his ruling stated that the notice of appeal lodged by KAMBWILI was irregular. He told court that the convict filed the notice of appeal way before he gave judgment and sentence, and this was contrary to the demands of Section 321 and 323 of the Criminal Procedure Code, CPC, making the appeal of notice irregular. Consequently, the convict cannot invoke Section 322 of the CPC by applying for bail pending appeal without complying with Section 321 and Section 323 of the CPC, said Magistrate David Simusamba. He said he shall not entertain any application for bail pending appeal until such a time as the appeal procedure enshrined in the said CPC is fully complied with. Earlier, officers ensuring security at Lusaka's Magistrate Court apprehended United Party for National Development Chikombo Ward Councillor Regan Mubata for allegedly being unruly. Mr. Mubata attempted to enter the court premise without clearance, and this prompted the police to apprehend him. However, today's security system was very tight and strict, as no sympathizers or KAMBWILI'S relatives were allowed to attend his case.
We put in an argument, we forwarded the case, and the magistrate has ruled. I'm a senior member of the bar. I respect the rulings of the court, and our job is to continue representing our client to the best of our ability, and we'll continue to do that. So we will be reapproaching the court.
Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
The latest on the KAMBWILI appeal case is that though his lawyers have filed a notice of appeal in the Lusaka High Court over his conviction and sentencing by Magistrate David Simusamba, in the notice of appeal, KAMBWILI states that in view of Article 18 of the Constitution, Principal Resident Magistrate David Simusamba erred at law when he denied to recuse himself from handling the case despite the bad relationship between the two. KAMBWILI states that in line with Article 28 and 128 of the Constitution, the magistrate erred when he declined to refer the matter to the High Court for determination of constitutional rights. He adds that Magistrate Simusamba erred in the law when he convicted him and imposed what he termed as a punitive sentence, basing his conviction and sentencing mainly on his errors, finding that he had not shown no respect for the court. Meanwhile, Mr. KAMBWILI'S daughter, Chanda KAMBWILI, has been released on police bond after her charge of assault was reduced to conduct likely to cause breach of peace. Ms. KAMBWILI was on the 20th of October 2020 arrested by police officers after she allegedly slapped one of the police officers when she was denied entry into the Lusaka Magistrate Court premises to listen to her father's bail application hearing. On Wednesday, Ms. KAMBWILI was denied police bond and was informed that she will only apply for her bail at court.
After spending 2 nights in police custody, daughter to National Democratic Congress leader Chanda KAMBWILI has been set at liberty by the police after being granted police bond. Chanda was previously denied bond after she was accused of slapping a police officer at the magistrate court in Lusaka when she was denied entry into the court premise to attend her father's bail application hearing. What started as a normal confrontation turned into a police brutality when Chanda and her mother, Carol KAMBWILI, were arrested while being dragged into a police vehicle and taken to Kawata police station, while her mother only spent a night, and the following day she was granted bond. However, Chanda, who was charged with a serious offense of assaulting a police officer, and like her mother, was charged with the conduct of likely to breach peace, was left to spend 2 nights in cells after police insisted that she will only apply for her bail at court. This afternoon, Chanda was released on bond after the police reduced her charge of assault to that of conduct likely to breach peace. Miriam Kemba, reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
United Party for National Development, UPND, National Chairperson Mutale Nalumango has demanded for the immediate release of Sesheke Member of Parliament Romeo Kangombe. Mr. Kangombe has been arrested by police in connection with the suspected abduction of 2 police officers in Chinsali. But the party has complained over this arrest, accusing the police of arbitrarily arresting opposition members at will while remaining mute on atrocities being committed by those aligned to the PF. Police in Lusaka arrested Mr. Kangombe after summoning him for questioning. Currently, the whereabouts of Mr. Kangombe are not known. Ms. Nalumango made the demand during a media briefing this afternoon. Meanwhile, UPND National Chairperson for Women Affairs, Namakau Kawiku, says Vice President Inonge Wina must learn to state facts as opposed to spreading lies on national matters. Ms. Kawiku's comments comes in the wake of Ms. Wina's statement in Parliament, where she accused the UPND leadership of destruction in Chinsali district as Hakainde Hichilema made his way to Lusaka from Kasama.
Democratic, and we have to continue to be democratic, allow participation, free movement. You can't infringe on the rights of people. You can't do that. We have no freedom of movement. And you can even stand there. People, I saw President Lungu in Chilovi saying people can now compete in his party. Why can't you allow people to compete in the nation? We have the freedoms, fundamental freedoms, freedoms of movement, freedoms of assembly, freedom of association, even freedom of conscience. Don't tell me to start supporting what I don't believe in. Zambians, wake up. It's your right. It is now or never. Don't allow the wicked.
Ebena Zambia, Shibuke. Chirabushiko wakula lete milando yota mwishi. Veronica Ngombe vasenda kumulando yota veshi. Abalelwa munshiro mwero balesa ba president Hakainde na abantu babo. Ni ba PF. Ebalelwa. Na bakapokola baletamba. Na DC ali kuntanshi. Balesuminisha bakapokola na ba DC balesuminisha ba PF. Ukulapo samagwe kuli ba president besu. Ngalero echabipanisha kuti mingasenda abana besu. Icharo chino chabipa. Masoshi baire pakoti. Koti ile ngiro kuisuwe efibi. Umuntu onsole fokumfo emilandu ayingira. Nakambwire engire vaikata. Patricia engire vaikata. Ngacho balebe katiranisha. Ifunde muletere balungu ya kuchitabu dictator pali fiance. Mwala firwa na mufirwa no kufirwa.
The Health Professions Council of Zambia, HPCZ, has warned all prospecting students wishing to undertake medical courses to check for registered schools with the council. Speaking on the sidelines of a student's special COVID-19 lecture at Cavendish University Wednesday, HPCZ Senior Public Relations Officer Terry Musonda explains that more parents and students are prone to exploitation by some schools who offer medical courses without certification. Meanwhile, Mr. Msonda has charged that professionalism is key in the dispensation of duty for medical personnel because their job is a matter of life and death. Here's a report.
The Health Professions Council of Zambia, within its mandate, is calling on all would-be students wishing to join the medical practice to check with the council for credible schools that are registered to offer particular courses. HPCZ Senior Public Relations Officer Terry Musonda tells Camnet TV on the sidelines of a special COVID-19 student lecture Wednesday that most schools are not certified by the council, thereby wasting time for both students and the parents. Mr. Musonda says medical practitioners are important national development because they preserve life.
CZ, we want to alert the parents that this is the fourth quarter of the year, and this is the year in which most of the training institutions offering health approved program by HPCZ advertised. So our appeal to potential students, parents, guardians and also potential sponsors is that they need to counter-check with HPCZ before they are taken up by any respective institution to avoid the issue of crying foul, and also to save their time, resources. And it's very, very important because we may experience cases where some potential student will come and cry foul to say, look, this training institution is offering this program and we've been learning for this period without alerting us that they haven't been approved by the council. So this is a timely guidance and advice to all parents and potential students that they have to do some due diligence by ensuring that they get in touch with us, they counter-check through our website whether a particular training institution is approved or to offer a particular program. We sustained our campaign to ensure that we engage the students direct by ensuring that we supplement what the lecturers and training institutions are doing with regards to compliance to COVID-19. So we are appealing to the students to ensure that they become good ambassadors, they obey the 5 golden rules of compliance to COVID-19, so that at the end of it all, they are seen to be taking the leading role in ensuring that the compliance levels out there are enhanced. We know that students are better placed, they are intellectuals who are, when they speak, when they are seen in action complying, then the communities out there where they come from will be saved.
And a student representative is grateful to HPCZ for the lecture.
HPCZ has visited us and given us a presentation lecture of the whole structure of the HPCZ. And on behalf of Cavendish at large, we are very thankful because we have learned a lot. Things which we were not clear about, everything has been given to us and we have the full info now. We know how to get about it, the indexing and practical practices, and all we need to be equipped as medical practitioners. So I want to thank HPCZ for giving us this opportunity to have this lecture for today.
Sharon Kalimbula, Camnet News, Lusaka.
We take our first set of commercials. Do stay with us as we have more interesting stories lined up for you.
Take control of your tax planning. Avoid penalties and interest. Returns and payments due by the 10th of the month for declarations of the previous month's transactions are pay as you earn and skills development levy. Returns and payments due by the 14th of the month are turnover tax, withholding tax, mineral royalty tax, tourism levy, gaming and baiting, presumptive tax. Returns and payments for all withholding VAT agents is the 16th of the month. Returns and payments for all VAT registered suppliers is the 18th of the month. Submit the returns and make payments on or before the respective due dates to avoid penalties on the late submission of returns and payments of taxes. Further, note that VAT tax invoices for all business-to-business and business-to-government transactions must bear the TPIN of the buyer without fail. Zambia Revenue Authority. My tax, your tax, our destiny.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with the news. A concerned citizen of Chipangali constituency in Eastern Province has expressed disappointment at what he terms as looting and corruption involved in the distribution of relief food, among other items, by some government officials. Maxon Ngoma notes that the donations which were made by Vice President Inonge Winner in Chipangali district last week, which were meant to be distributed to more than 350 households who are victims affected by heavy rains, are being transported to Malawi for sale. Mr. Nkoma has since called upon the Provincial Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit DMMU coordinator to take interest and monitor what is going on in the distribution exercise in Chipangali to ensure that the relief aid is given to the right people.
2 weeks ago, in Eastern Province, Mugumbudu area of Chipangali, 350 houses had their roofs blown off after heavy rains. This prompted government to quickly move in through the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU. Vice President Inonge Wina also donated some items when she visited the site over the past weekend. But this donation has apparently been handed over to the wrong people. A concerned citizen of Chipangali and aspiring Member of Parliament, Maxon Nkoma, is concerned about this anomaly.
Items, humanitarian donations that were made by DMMU came to Chipangali, and these were brought by Her Honor the Vice President through DMMU. There were various assorted items, among them iron sheets, pockets of cement, cooking oil, also milk that were donated by His Excellency the President. But what is most disheartening, the most disappointing and shocking thing is that instead of the distribution process being followed religiously, looking at the list of the affected households, what we are seeing is that the distribution process has been marred with irregularities, there's theft, there's bribery, there's corruption. And as we speak, we have reports of two canter, right trucks carrying bags of DMMU milk being taken into Malawi, for sale.
And Mr. Nkoma has since called on the law enforcement agencies to move in and monitor what is being done to the relief items that were given by DMMU.
Disappointed that this process has not been monitored enough, and there hasn't been enough oversight to ensure that the correct things are being done on the ground. We would like to appeal to the Provincial Disaster Management Coordinator in Eastern Province to take special interest in monitoring the distribution process of humanitarian donated items in Chipangali to ensure that the beneficiaries, the correct beneficiaries are receiving, and that also those that have stolen milk to go and sell in Malawi, they are brought to book. It is such kind of responsibility that makes us continue suffering. The government responded with utmost urgency and speedy, but our own local people, elected people holding government positions are the ones that are now frustrating and hampering the efforts of the government.
Efforts to get a comment from DMMU could not materialize by broadcast time. Sharon Kalimbula, Camnet News, Lusaka.
And still in the news, some vulnerable households of Mansa district have been supported with an assortment of food items valued at 8,500 by the Civil Society for Poverty Reduction, CSPR. CSPR Luapula Province Coordinator Michael Mwale explains that the call for help is everyone's responsibility. Mr. Mwale has since called on government to prudently utilize funds meant for vulnerable people, such as the Social Cash Transfer Funds, on the intended beneficiaries. Meanwhile, Mansa District Social Welfare Officer Gladys Ngalande says the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted negatively on various families, especially those who are already struggling, and the beneficiaries have expressed gratitude towards the donation. GEARS Initiative Executive Director McDonald Chipenzi is opposed to proposals being put forward that the tenure of Parliamentary Constituency Office staff's tenure of office be tied to that of elected leaders. The new contracts given to the Parliamentary Constituency Office employees reads in part, the duration of the contract shall be tied to the tenure of the Member of Parliament under who the staff was employed upon the expiry of the term, or where a Member of Parliament ceases to be during the term, the contract will stand terminated. But Mr. Chipenzi says such action lacks constitutional backing and should be rescinded forthwith. He further states that the directives from the National Assembly have the potential to erode professionalism. He says it is hard to swallow the fact that this directive is coming from the legislative wing of government, which is supposed to pursue a path of promoting professionalism and non-partisanship in its works.
The direction or a clause now in the employment of professional assistants in the office, in the constituency offices, where they are saying the employment of these officers will be tied to the tenure of the MP. Now, that is strange. Those professional assistants are what? Civil servants who should not be tied to the tenure of an elected leader. And the moment you tie that, you are actually undervaluing professionalism. You are also triggering cadreism. You are also eroding institutional memory. So the National Assembly should not be in the forefront of diluting professional memory, professional ethics, and so on and so forth. We expect that the constituency offices should be a model of how a person can be employed and become non-partisan and welcome everybody. Now, if you put people according to, you are basically saying MP employ. When you are done, this person is also done. Look at the turnover that will be there. So we are saying we condemn that. And the National Assembly should rescind that decision so that we have professional assistants that are employed on merit and not because of the tenure of office of a Member of Parliament.
Two brothers of the Zambian's ambassador to India, Judith Kabejimpanga's husband, accused of stealing over 52,000 from a firm they worked for, have pleaded not guilty to one count of theft by directors. The two brothers include Chansa Kabejimpanga, 48, and Kelly Davis Kabejimpanga, 40, both directors of SEAL 6 Squad Services Limited. The brothers took plea before Magistrate Alice Walusiku after the prosecution submitted the indictment. Allegations are that the duo between December 21st, 2019 and March 10th, 2020 jointly and whilst acting together with other persons unknown and being directors of SEAL 6 Squad Services Limited stole 52,480 cash, the property of the said company. Magistrate Walusiku has since adjourned the matter to November 25th, 2020 for commencement of trial. And moving on in the news, Action Aid Zambia has called on government to withdraw the non-governmental organization NGO Amendment Bill of 2020 from Parliament. Organization Executive Director Nalucha Zimba says that the NGO Bill of 2020 that is currently before the National Assembly does not have the blessing of NGOs as it lacks consultations from the sector. Ms. Zimba says the NGO sector was taken aback to read and hear that the government is sponsoring an amendment to incorporate a section on money laundering and terrorism financing under the NGO Act No. 16 of 2009, which is currently under the process of repeal and replacement. She notes that this process of repeal and replacement of the same act has reached the completion stage and was spearheaded by the technical working group constituted by the government itself through the Ministry of Community Development and Social Services. She says the NGO sector will not accept piecemeal amendments of the act regardless of the pressure government is under to fulfill the international dictates. That item leads us to our second set of commercials. To stay with us as we have more interesting stories lined up for you.
Stay home, stay safe. Times have changed. With the advent of the coronavirus, Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company would like to advise its esteemed customers to avoid visiting crowded places. You don't have to move to pay your water bill. You can do it in the convenience of your home. You can pay your water bills through Zanaco Zapit, Stanbic Bank, Standard Chartered Bank, and FNB. You can also use Airtel, MTN, and Zamtel Kwacha mobile money transfer services. For any inquiries to report a fault, please contact our customer service on +260 211 251 571, +260 975 618 618, and toll-free line 5957, Zamtel only. You can also simply email customerservice@lwsc.com. This public announcement is brought to you by the Lusaka Water Supply and Sanitation Company. Water is life. Sanitation is health.
I have used Oracle Pure Glycerin for 2 years now. It has really worked for me. It has cleared all the black spots on my face. It has restored my skin beauty. It also smoothens the skin. Try Oracle Pure Glycerin for perfect skin. If it's not Oracle Glycerin, then it's not pure glycerin.
You're watching a live broadcast of Camnet TV World News. We continue with international. Pope Francis has become the first pontiff to endorse same-sex civil unions, sparking cheers from gay Catholics and demands for clarification from the conservatives given the Vatican's official teaching on the issue. The remarks come in a documentary called Francesco that was released on Wednesday. Homosexual people have a right to be in a family. They are the children of God and have a right to a family. Nobody should be thrown out or made miserable over it, the pontiff said, as he reflected on pastoral care for those who identify as LGBTQ. The documentary on the life and ministry of Pope Francis was presented at the Rome Film Festival and is set to make its North American premiere on Sunday. While serving as Archbishop in 2010, Francis endorsed civil unions for gay couples as an alternative to same-sex marriages. However, he had never come out publicly in favor of civil unions as Pope, and no pontiff before him had either. Catholic teaching holds that gays must be treated with dignity and respect, but that homosexual acts are fundamentally disordered. We monitored Sky News on this international story.
On any other day, the Pope's appearance in Vatican City without a mask on might have generated more headlines. But the Catholic leader had set the news agenda with his clearest pronouncement yet on gay relationships. In a documentary about his life which premiered at the Rome Film Festival, the pontiff said he thinks same-sex couples should be allowed to have civil unions. Telling filmmakers, homosexual people have the right to be a family. They are children of God. What we have to have is a civil union law. That way they are legally covered. He added that he'd stood up for that principle, apparently referring to his time as Archbishop of Buenos Aires, when he endorsed some legal protections for same-sex couples. And many will see his comments in the documentary as a major step forward.
This will make, I think, a significant impact in many countries where gay people do not have basic civic rights and recognition of their partnerships. He's not in favour of gay marriage. He's not in favour of opening the institution of marriage to gay people, and he believes that gay marriage is an impossibility. He's always maintained that. What he's saying is that everybody, whatever their sex and whatever their relationship, have a right to have the legal support.
This is a man who...
In the documentary called Francesco, the Pope is also seen encouraging 2 gay men to attend church with their children. But some question whether this really marks a fundamental shift in a church which still opposes gay marriage and has called homosexuality deviant behaviour.
I think we were a little surprised, and it has definitely taken a long time to get to this point.
And we know that it's testament to the hard work and the labour and the activism of all of the LGBT people inside and outside of the Catholic Church to help bring about this positive change.
Pope Francis's comments are certain to divide opinion amongst Catholics, but may well engender debate about how the Church adapts to reflect a changing society.
Still in international news, reports of vandalism and destruction continue to flood in. The High Court in Lagos Island, the city's oldest neighborhood, was set ablaze. Residents said the building was looted by vandals who took away goods that had been confiscated by the court, and that the fire lasted long into the night. On Lagos mainland, a BBC reporter heard gunshots in the suburb and saw tires burning. In the suburb of Lekki, a few miles from the toll gate where people were shot dead on Tuesday shooting, journalist Kayonde posted a video of a popular shopping mall which appears to have been vandalized. Amid the chaos, the governor admitted he hasn't been able to reach the president on Wednesday. While President Buhari has appealed for calm, he has still not directly addressed Tuesday's incident in which rights groups and witnesses said several people were killed. Nigeria's President Buhari had been holding talks with his defense chiefs, and unrest continues in the wake of shooting of protesters in Lagos on Tuesday. We now get into sports news. The Zambia national soccer team Thursday afternoon edged Ethiopia in an international friendly match played in Addis Ababa Stadium. The match ended 3-2 in favor of the Chipolopolo boys. Ethiopia drew the first blood in the 13th minute through Kawenda, but Zambia's Kelvin Kampamba leveled matters in the 39th minute. Ethiopia added the second goal via penalty in the 43rd minute, which was converted by Tamena, but Zambia came gun blazing after the break with a brace from Albert in the 88th and 97th minute of the match. Zambia has now recorded 2 wins in a row after beating South Africa 2-1 recently. That sports item brings us to the end of the news, but before we go, a recap of the headlines. The release of woman killer BEATRICE HANGWENDA reincarnates fresh wounds on their deceased relative. KAMBWILI'S jailer throws his bail application away as his child is freed. MUMBI PHIRI directs police to arrest party cadres harassing media personnel. In international news, Pope Francis endorses same-sex civil unions for the first time as Pontiff. And in international news, Zambia beat Ethiopia 3-2 in an international friendly match. The Camnet World Verse of the Day is coming from the book of Numbers 6 verse 24 to 26, and it reads, "The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face towards you and give you peace." On behalf of the entire news production crew and myself, Liseli Kanyanga, thank you so much for watching Camnet TV, not just another channel.